Morning, everyone. Hope you're well. Welcome back to the Final Whistle for another match preview on the channel. Then it's Valentine's Day. Will Leicester City be breaking the Gunners' hearts this weekend? Then as Arsenal visit the King Power Stadium in a very tough game for Leicester again, as the Foxes are in desperate need of points, and hopefully Lee can give us a bit more optimism going into this game, considering Arsenal's injuries and that. Hopefully they can roll over and give us 3 points to make it extra special for us on Valentine's Day weekend. So a bit of a gift from Lee would be fantastic, but yeah, we'll see. I'm going to be joined by AFTV's Lee Judges. He's going to give it a lowdown on the Gunners then, as Mikel Arteta's side take on Ruud van Nistelrooy's side, and yeah, let's see what happens in this one then. Guys, as always, hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't subscribed already. Then please do so. That'll be out massively. And yeah, let's get my guest in, Mr. Lee Judges. Lee, how are you?
Oh, I'm not too bad, thank you very much. You good?
Yeah, I'm all right, mate. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Doing anything nice, Lee, or do you reckon Arsenal break your heart? What do you reckon?
Do you know what? This is, I don't know. It's as simple as that. I think every game that Arsenal are going to go into now, well, particularly this one, because we don't know what team selection we're going to have. We don't know what's going to be up front. We know that by what 11:15, and then I think then we can make judgments from there. And this is a big game now for Arsenal, as I was just talking off air, because there is the unknown of what's going on with the striking situation. It could be that Mikel brings in somebody within and it works, or we could be ending up losing this game 1-0 and everything going pear shaped. So it's that's the problem for me. Like, Arsenal tomorrow. We went to Newcastle. In the cup, never looked like scoring. The club chose not to bring in any players since that transfer window. We've lost 2 of our attacking players in Martinelli for a few weeks, and obviously Kai Havertz for the whole season. So, it will be very, very important that if we look like we're going to be scoring goals or we're not. So it's always just talking off air. You can't really go too much in at Arsenal at the moment because we're still second in the league, still in the Champions League. But I think most Arsenal fans fearing the worst, that the lack of firepower and the lack of bodies in the fire in the attacking area is going to be our undoing. So we'll have to wait and see. So I'm going to say, you'd be looking forward to going to Leicester because we've got a good record and everything like that. But and really, see if you got title aspirations and things like that, when you're playing the teams down the bottom half of the table, you've got to go there looking to win. So if we don't, it's going to be a major blow. If we do win it, it takes us on to the next game. So I am wary of the game tomorrow. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, no, I don't think Leicester fans are much optimism going into this, if I'm honest with you, the way our season's gone. Some would probably even say we're going to get relegated this season, to be fair. But Lee, before we kick off the match preview, let everybody know who you are and what you do regarding Arsenal, mate, if they don't know who you are already.
Obviously I do all the sort of content around Arsenal, AFTV, and my own channel, Lee Judges TV, and of course on socials, Lee Mark Judges. If you want to check out some Arsenal stuff, then fair enough, so that's what I do. So it's not a bad life. It's not a bad life that I've got,
Fantastic. Where is Arsenal's priorities, the Premier League or the Champions League?
God, horrible question to start off with.
Which one would you like to win, Lee? I mean, you've won the Prem since the Invincibles, but Champions League you've never won. So, which one would you prefer?
Do you know what people might think I'm silly and all that? Like Premier League, you know, I've always been wanting to win the league. I've always felt that the Champions League is you need a lot of luck in that, you know, to win. Like, obviously, would love to experience winning it and all that, but you know, like the Premier League, you know, since 2004, there's been times in that period. And I've said to people and said to myself, I'm never going to see Arsenal win the league again. And then the last few years, I felt that we've got a chance again. So but my belief that Arsenal can win the league has come back.
Yeah.
But, so, yeah, I know it's great, the Champions League, but, you know, from August to May, you know, you're going around the country, home and away. You know, why wouldn't you want to win it? You know, that's how I look at it. So for me, it's always the league, and if we was to win the Champions League, it would be a massive, massive bonus. What I think could be the easier ones to win. None of them are easier, obviously. But I think we've probably got a better chance of winning Champions League because if we win all our games in the Premier League, it doesn't mean that we're going to win the league. But if we win every game in the Champions League. We win the Champions League. So you can see it from that point of view. But yeah, for me, it's always the league. People might think that I'm silly and lying when I'm saying that because I've not seen us win a Champions League, but it is the league for me all day long.
Yep. Big game this weekend then. Leicester, Arsenal. Leicester, of course, scrapping down the bottom of the table. Arsenal, of course, they're in a chance of winning the title, aren't they? I know they're 7 points behind at this minute in time. Obviously, a win for you lot would put pressure on Liverpool, who played, obviously, midweek against Everton. Yeah. Drew 2-2 in bloody James Tarkowski with an absolute belter to get Goodison pot rocking in the last Merseyside derby at Goodison. But, yeah, this one... is there optimism going into this game regarding Leicester? I mean, Arsenal's forwards, there's not really many to choose from if going into this game. Leicester have, of course, got to be at their best if they are to get anything from Arsenal. Obviously, this is another tough game for Ruud van Nistelrooy. Obviously, you'd know Ruud from his playing days against Arsenal, playing for Manchester United. Martin Keown knocking Ruud van Nistelrooy at Old Trafford. I think it was the penalty situation, was it?
Yeah.
Years ago. So I think there's never no love lost between Ruud van Nistelrooy and Arsenal. It's one that Ruud would obviously like to go and get something out of. I think a point would be massive for us if we can do that. But I think it's about, again, being cautious in this one, because if you go toe-to-toe against the Gunners in this one, then you've got to really defend well, haven't you? But obviously your defence at the minute with Saliba and Gabriel seem to be very much working. But talk to me about Arsenal going into this game. I mean, Leicester's got to be very good on their day to go and even probably win this game, to be fair. But yeah, it's a bit of a sticky one when it talks to Leicester about getting results this season and points. But Arsenal, on the other hand, I mean, are you feeling more confident going into this game, or do you see this as a potential banana skin maybe?
100% banana skin, like, you know. I think if you be honest with Leicester fans and all that, it's between 3 out of 4. I think it's Southampton, Ipswich, Leicester, and Wolves. So like you'll be cheering on Liverpool on the Sunday. But if one of those teams, Leicester or Wolves, can beat or get something from one of those games, you know what I mean? That's a bonus, real bonus point. So if Leicester were to get a win or a draw, they'd look at that as a massive bonus going forward to try and probably chasing down. I think it's out of Wolves and yourselves.
Yeah.
You know, you've got to be careful of Ipswich, because Ipswich they're on 16, so you've got to be. But I think like West Ham, Tottenham, and Everton have probably, you know, just got enough. They've got to get more points, but they get the points that they need. So I look at it. These games are always a worry for me, because if like Ipswich were playing, I don't know, maybe a Palace or a Brentford or something like that, there'd be a little bit more pressure on them to get the 3 points. This one here, the pressure's off a little bit. The fans be going, oh, if we can get anything from it, it'd be great. So they see it as a little bit more, a freedom game, so they can just maybe express themselves a little bit more tomorrow, and then maybe get something from the game. So I do find that is a bit of a worry for us. Like the Ruud van Nistelrooy thing. Look, nothing against you guys. I've always had a lot of respect for Leicester, but now that he's your manager, I hope everything goes against him. Not so much Leicester, but him.
Definitely no love lost then, Lino.
No, 100% no love lost. You know what I mean? So but there you go. That's rivalry, and that's what things do. So listen. It'll be a little bit sweeter if we can beat you, and because he's the manager. That's something that you can't lie about from an Arsenal point of view. But I think that also Leicester have got a bit of pressure on them tomorrow as well, which is a nice thing. It's not like they're mid-table and you can just be a bit more relaxed about it. Sometimes those games are difficult. But if Arsenal are not up for it, don't defend properly, it can go against you. Listen, I'm not one to watch Leicester all the time. Ipswich, Southampton, those sort of games. I don't really watch them too much. But when they play Spurs, I did. Now, if we get into that position where I'm going to say you don't take your chances because you get punished, and that's exactly what happened with Spurs that day. I think they should have been 3 or 4 up at half time, weren't, and Leicester come back. Probably could have even won it in the end. So. This is a game that Arsenal are going to get. If they do get chances, they've got to take them, and don't sort of let you off the hook a little bit, So that I see as a problem, because I look at it and I think, well, who's going to score our goals? Who's going to get the chances? We're going to be a little bit light up front. We're relying on players now like Sterling. Not so much Trossard, but just say Sterling for a while. Hasn't played hardly at all, and when he has played, hasn't done anything. But he's got to step up now, and if I'm being honest, I don't think he can. And you're asking for Wenger to do it in spells, which he can. Wenger is a good player, but I look at all 3 of those players up there. They haven't got physical power. I think that Leicester have a bit of physical power in their defence, so it's going to be a real interesting one. Maybe midfield battle's gonna win there. There's a couple of ex-Spurs players in there as well, to make that a little bit more of a bit more spicier for us, if you like. Skip and Winks. So we'll wait and see. So I thought I watched the game against Man United, not all of it in the cup game, but I did think Leicester played quite well in that game, and Harry Winks done quite well in midfield, knitting things together and all that, And listen, if it wasn't for VAR, who knows? Leicester could have been in the next round, So they play quite well. You guys play quite well in that game for patches. But once Man United got on a roll, I felt that it was a matter of time. That's what Arsenal got to do. Just build the pressure up, and see if you're cracked. But I don't think there's been a time that I've actually gone to Leicester and thought, wow, this is an easy game for us. I think the last time we got relegated season, we only won 1-0. I know we had a couple of disallowed goals and whatever, and probably was a little bit more comfortable than the scoreline suggested, but it weren't easy. And I remember if I'm right or I'm wrong, when we won 2-0 the time before, that's when Ramsdale made an unbelievable save from Madsen, was it, from the free kick and all that. So it's never easy to go there. It's always a good atmosphere. I wouldn't say an intimidating atmosphere, but an atmosphere where the place is rocking and you think, wow, it's, you get behind the team, which I don't know if you have this season because it may be a bit difficult, but in years past, always got behind the team, and it's always been a difficult place to play. So I'm not looking forward to it, particularly early kickoff as well. Got to get up early for it as well. So you know, it'd be interesting to see how Arsenal playing this game. Like, I'll be honest, I'm looking forward to it to just see what Arsenal do going forward. You know, because if you really look at the bigger picture, if Arsenal are going to go on a run that's going to take them to challenge and beat Liverpool, it's a good start to see where we are going into that against Leicester. Like, you know, anything other than a win is not going to be good enough. So if we don't beat you, then I'll say that, like, even if we do win this game, it's got to be convincing. We've got to show, like, they've got to show. I think the fans at this moment in time are all a little bit deflated, a little bit down. We need a big boost. We need a performance where how can I say it, like the not the players but the club restore a little bit of confidence in us. You know, you think, well, okay, we can go with this. At this moment in time, you know, we're all feeling like very, very let down by the transfer window. Very, very let down by the owners. Very a bit down on luck because of the injuries and whatever. So it's been a bad week for us, you know, on the back of that, losing in the semi-final as well. So it's not, we need a boost. We need a boost.
I'll tell you what, I'll agree with you on the transfer window. Leicester's been the same. Incompetence by the board once again, you know, not getting and backing Ruud van Nistelrooy. And I think that, see, this is the thing with Ruud. It's like he's come into a difficult situation, should we call it? You know, he's had to deal with the squad that he's been given. The only way he could have changed things is through January transfer window, bringing in his own players he can work with and change a few things up. But the club never backed him, and it's a real shame for him. And I think he is a manager you want to be backed by the board. If they're telling you you've got money to spend, you want that money to spend. You know, you just don't want words, do you? You want action.
Yeah.
This is what the board haven't done at Leicester. A lot gets said and it just doesn't happen, you know. We gave Steve Cooper the summer transfer window. He spent about bloody £80 million, I think it was, in bloody bringing Deco Dover-Reading, Jordan Ayew, Oliver Skip, £25 million, Caleb Okoli for £13 million. So we've brought in some bloody players which you could call bench players, if I'm honest. Woyo Koulibaly has come in, though, in January transfer window. Yeah. Not really been given a chance as such, as much as I'd like, but it's one of them. This is the type of game the midfield battle is going to be key. Obviously, I think you've got Rice, haven't you, Partey, and is it Odegaard in there as well?
Yeah, I'd imagine that'd be our three, yeah.
And Ndidi and Samori. So, Ndidi and Samori, I thought we were very good against Man United. I think we defended well for 60 minutes of the game, and then when the subs changed, and they brought Garnacho on, it started to really dictate the game and change the game massively. But that ruling of bloody the linesman's in line with the offside situation, it's like, obviously at Old Trafford, you're in the away end, aren't you? You're not going to see that because you're at the back, innit? If you were at Stretford end, you'd see the offside and everything. But when you're in the away end, you're only seeing the back of it, aren't you? So
yeah, of course, yeah.
It's mad, but it's... Yeah, 60 minutes, I thought we were good. I thought we put pressure on Man United. I think that's something we've got to do with Arsenal when they get the ball, put pressure on, but not give them too much because, you know, they can counter-attack quite well with the pace. Obviously, Sterling likes a goal against Leicester, so it wouldn't surprise me if he scores tomorrow. But Lee, how have you found the Prem? Obviously, 7 points behind Liverpool. Is the title still on? Or is there more of a chance?
Mathematically, it is.
Yeah.
I personally don't think that it is. I just personally don't think we've got the firepower to do it. You know, we've got defence, we've got midfield. So, you know, maybe like, particularly in these next 3 games until Martinelli comes back, we've obviously got you guys. We've then got West Ham at home and then Forest away. If we can just defend.
Lee would take that, to be fair.
Yeah, get 0-0. With a few 0-0, not 0-0s, and then like set pieces, maybe just gets through like 1-0s in the next couple of games. That might help us. Like, listen, I'd love to say that I think that we can win the title. I actually, do you know how it sums it up when Liverpool? I was out for a family birthday on, and we was, like a few of my mates that were there are Arsenal fans.
Yeah,
and we checking on the phone. It said, Liverpool's 2-1, and we all three of us just went, well, it's over now. Like we can get on with it, accept it now. And then I looked at my phone and I said, oh my God, like Everton have equalised, and and then we actually turned around and then like it weren't like, oh brilliant Liverpool, if only we'd have just got a striker in, so it was not fantastic enough because it was still a funny situation, so I'd love to think that we could go and win it, but I just don't think we've got the firepower to do it unless Mikel does a madness and puts somebody up there that, I don't know, say it's Mourinho and he starts banging in goals, which I can't see. So Sterling starts scoring goals. So I do think that we've just not really done the business to strengthen the squad, but also like we've had a lot of injuries to key players this season. Now people will say, "Oh, everybody's had injuries," and like, listen, we had injuries last season, but but we didn't have injuries to the key players last season, But this season we've had our best player go out. We've had our Odegaard, who's our second best player, going out. We've had Kai Havertz is very intricate to the way that we play, now gone out for the whole season. So we've had, our much, Saliba's been out for a few weeks, but like our top players out this season. So that's been a difficult. It's just one of those things. We're still in with a shout, and but if I'm a betting man, I'm afraid, Scousers are going to be very, very happy at the end of the season.
Yep. Andreas talks about one of my all-time favourite games that I went to was Leicester versus Arsenal, 3-3 draw in 97. Was amazing. Bergkamp hat-trick. It felt like a win with the cop was rocking when we came back into it when Steve Walsh scored that bullet header.
Yeah. I remember that game. Do you know what, coming away from that game, and this is where football is funny, right? I remember walking away from that game saying, score 3 goals away from home against a team like Leicester, no disrespect to Leicester, and don't win the game, how can you expect to win the league?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so
fair point.
So but we did, so many strange things happen, what I mean? I think maybe because it was a last minute game, we couldn't hold out to it. We was a little bit annoyed about that, but yeah, so you never know, but that was an unbelievable game, and a hat-trick there from Bergkamp was sensational. But
very good play.
Leicester then had a side that you couldn't underestimate by any stretch of the imagination. Like they was a team that was had quality, as well as some good physical players as well at the back and everything like that. Over the years, Leicester have had some, very, very, very good teams. So obviously, like winning it as well with that team there. But that team was very, very good, by the way, very, very good.
Jack, has Skip or Wink scored this season in the league? No, they haven't. I mean, we spent already 25 million on a bench player. 25 million for Oliver Skip, yeah. I don't know. We've had our pants down basically with that. Tottenham's had our pants down. Winks has been good. He was good last season in the Championship, Premier League. He's been hit and miss, but yeah, it's kind of one of them things. But obviously, on this daily, I don't know if Arsenal put a post up or anything about Leicester Arsenal, but yeah, Valentine's Day.
I know what you're gonna say.
Let's take it back to 2016. Jamie Vardy scores.
Yeah.
And then Danny Simpson gets sent off. And yeah, I think Theo Walcott scored for you lot, was it? And then Danny Welbeck comes off the bench and scores the winner.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable for you lot, yeah.
Well, listen,
It broke me heart.
I go back to that day, and with a lot of admiration for Leicester, because they've just been pumped in the last minute of the game, well, last kick of the game, really. At that stage, you'd lost 3 games in the season. You finished the season losing. That was the last defeat. So if you'd have said to me that day that Leicester would go on and not lose a game, I wouldn't have believed you. I felt that the momentum shifted that day, maybe towards Arsenal. I did. I felt that was a pivotal point in the season for us, but it proved to be a pivotal point for Leicester, because it galvanised Leicester. I don't think at times that they're free flowing, but I think there was a couple of games back end of it when Vardy got injured and you had to do a different way, which you've done. And in the end, I think that thoroughly deserved to win the league. And I think that performance, you could have buckled after that.
More than for sub.
Yeah, Leicester could have buckled after that game. But
I think
do you know what? I'll come out of the ground and you know, like where the away coaches are at Leicester, they put the coaches there. I've bumped into a few Leicester fans.
Yeah.
And they wasn't down about it. And I look back at that now and I think, whoa, you know, like they were saying, you know, don't worry about it. We're happy to be here. We'll go again. You know what I mean? We ain't out of this. And there was a very, very, there wasn't like hands in their heads worrying about, oh, this is it. No, they was still very, very, upbeat. And I look back at that now and I thought, wow, you know what I mean? Maybe you knew something I didn't. And that was, it was an unbelievable moment. That one of the best moments in the Emirates era, that when that Danny Welbeck goal went in, because the atmosphere was fantastic. And you just felt that there was something going to happen with Arsenal then, but obviously it didn't. It was for Leicester. So, very, very good game. But I remember it well. Yeah,
you'd remember it well. It's one that I'd want to forget, to be fair. I mean, I thought we played well in that game. I know you had the diplomatic actions of Olivier Giroud getting Danny Simpson sent off within quick succession. I think that changed the game massively. I think if we'd got a point, I think we'd been very happy with it. But when you come away from that game and that goes in the minute that it did, I think that's where that infamous photo came, didn't it, of Arsenal players in the dressing room after the beat us. And I'm thinking, that's a real big win for Arsenal. But you look at Arsenal fans after the game, it was like, yeah, we're going to catch Leicester. We're coming for you, you know. And then obviously Spurs ended up finishing third in a 2-horse race. And then you guys were happy enough to finish above them. And I think you lot that season beat us twice out of the 3 games that we actually lost. And the 5-2 game, that was just crazy.
Yeah, that's when Sanchez scored a hat-trick, like, you know. Yeah. And, you know, no one really at that stage would have thought that Leicester would go on and do what they did. So it never gets the sort of the heights of probably the Valentine's game, because, you know, it felt like, you know, oh, well, you know, we should beat Leicester and, you know, blah, 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 blah. But it turned out to be... you know, as I say, like, I think like Leicester only lost 3 games. Is it Liverpool, the other one they lost to? But like,
Benteke scored.
Yeah, but for us to score, you know, like, you know, to win both games against us, that was, you know, incredible, really, when you think you only lost to 2 teams in that season. But at the end of it, like, you know, I don't think. I think we become favourites after that game, you know. When we beat you, I'm pretty sure the bookies put us as favourites to win the league that day. I don't think anybody really felt that Leicester were to galvanise from that and go on. I think people felt it was a matter of time before they fall down. But they didn't. And you know, and in the end, it sort of like, wow, they're going to win it. And in the end, I think won it a lot easier than probably what you thought you was going to. But, you know, incredible season it was. And, you know, like the Chelsea Spurs game was, you know, as a Leicester fan watching that, you must have been like unbelievable, because that was probably like going back to the 70s and 80s. That game, it was unbelievable for the physicality of it all. So it was a funny season. I felt that again the board and the owners let us down that time, because that was a season where we had no midfield. We should have got strengthened in January, and we should have done it in the summer, but we didn't. And then in the January we didn't. And again, let's go back to now. We're not learning our lessons, So it's a difficult one, for us to take, really, But Leicester had a spell there where you'd have to be very, very proud of what happened that day, and particularly that day. I have to say, I always go back to that day and say that even though you didn't win that day, that was the day you won the league, because there must have been something in that dressing room or something to just say, right, okay, we've lost, let's go again. And you did, and that was you have to give Leicester and their players and the manager so much credit for that, because at the end of the day, if you really look at it, Leicester could have just turned around and said, "Oh, do you know what? We've had a fantastic run. We've punching above our weight here, and just accepted it," but they didn't. So big admiration for those players and that team at that time. As much as it hurt. Even though we come second that year, we was never really in the title race after that February game. It's mad.
Yeah, it just seemed that every time we lost that season, we'd pick ourselves back up and we'd fight on. And it's like Arsenal gave us momentum, Lee. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
And then we ended up beating Norwich later on. I think Joa scored that earthquake goal, which bloody erupted when that one went in. Ross says about Jamie Vardy. Obviously, Arsene Wenger spoke highly about this transfer, which could have happened but didn't.
Yeah.
He said he offered Jamie Vardy a very lot of money to move to Arsenal. He kind of got annoyed with it that he never came. But yeah, Leicester, of course, offered him, he said, I think it was the same money with a longer term contract or a bit more money than what Arsenal offered. But I mean, I bet you'd have loved to have seen him at Arsenal. Do you think he'd have fit in well, Lee?
I think he would have fitted in well. But, you look back at that with Jamie Vardy, what is he now, 38? He wouldn't be at Arsenal at 38. Yeah. So he looks at probably like what he wanted to do in his career, and loyalty and everything like that was more of a key. At the end of it, maybe if he hadn't won the league, maybe he hadn't won the league, maybe he hadn't done this, he might have gone. But he'd won things with Leicester, and I think that you have to admire the loyalty and all that. And he's now 38, still doing the business, by the way. I'm not. Still lively. Can't last the 90 minutes, but bloody hell, he's doing well for what he's doing. And listen, I know he hates. It seems like he hates Tottenham, so I feel like
he likes winding them up, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. So I've got no problem with that. And I know he's just had a fantastic time. What I mean? Would he have been a fit for Arsenal? I don't know. It wasn't a great time. If I'll be really honest, I don't think it was a great time to go to Arsenal at that stage. There's a lot of things. I look back at that era towards the end. I think if I was an Arsenal fan playing at Leicester or another team and I was asked, I don't know if I would have gone, because it just wasn't not a nice environment. I think that if the opportunity come now, maybe he would have gone. You know what I mean? Because it's a different environment. So, listen, he made that decision, and I don't think he's ever regretted it, because he's had a fantastic career. So and good luck to him. Loyalty is a good thing in life. It's nice to see that every now and then.
The end of the Wenger era was toxic. Would you agree?
Towards the end, it was. Yeah. I have to say, it was.
Should he have gone sooner, though?
Wenger?
Wenger.
In hindsight, you'd probably think. I think he'd even say that himself now, if I'll be honest.
Yeah.
And listen, there's a lot of water gone under the bridge, and there's a little bit more, like feeling for it and all that, like with the statue and everything like that. But I always look back, wonderful, wonderful times.
Yeah.
Under him, but it was tarnished at the end, because of what was going. Now, a lot of that was probably down to the board situation as well. But yeah, I just felt that it wasn't a nice time to follow Arsenal as well because, it just wasn't. And I don't know how the players actually feel about it as well. There was the protests, about getting him out and all that. Like there was also, planes going over things. And do you know what? All the time, I think there was a lot of fans felt comfortable with it, but felt that they had to do it because it was getting. I don't know. It just wasn't a nice side. I don't look back at that era with any pride. The way, like I was as well. I wanted Wenger gone, and that doesn't sit well with me. But I think sometimes it's better for the club and whatever, And listen, it took us a few years to recover from that, And it wasn't a good time at Arsenal. It wasn't a good time. It was a dark time of our era as well,
Yup. Let's have a look at a stat. Obviously, me and you looked at this before we started. Leicester, 2 points adrift of safety, 18th place in the Premier League. The Foxes have a dreadful streak of home form to thank for their current predicament, as they have lost each of their last 4 games at the King Power Stadium, conceding 9 and failing to score in any of themselves. Only one Premier League side has ever lost 5 home games in a row without scoring in any of them, and that was Norwich in 1920 season. And Leicester's gut-wrenching 4-2 loss at the Emirates in September made it 6 straight defeats against Arsenal in the top division. So if Leicester lose this one, then, we can match Norwich's record of 5 straight home defeats if we don't score in this game as well. So, it's not a stat that we obviously want. But I tell you what, that Everton game, Leicester have got to be far better than that Everton game because that's a Premier League game. And to go and lose 4-0 at Everton and concede within 10 seconds of the bloody start.
Do you know we're looking at that Everton game? You would have. I wouldn't have said that Leicester were going to go there and win, but I thought But when you look at what Everton are doing now, it's a tough place to go now. It's a tough gig. I think if you'd have gone there 5-6 weeks ago, I think you would have might have even got something out of the game. But they've got that aggression. They've got a little bit more about them now.
Yeah.
But when I see the feeling that they 3-0 down after 20 odd minutes, was something? It was 3-0 at half time, wasn't it?
Yeah, 3-0.
I'm thinking, wow, they're the sort of results you look at and go, wow, Leicester are doomed. I know that sounds silly. You as an outside looking in, you think, well, no, they've not got the new manager bounce has took its effect, and then it's gone back to normal sort of thing, So, but then, I know it's cup competition, but you take a little bit more out of that. That performance, as I said to you, is unlucky on that day, So, listen, if Leicester. And you're not going to want to hear it. If Leicester don't start winning some home games, you're doomed. It's as simple as that. You've got to, you say 4 games on the bounce, not winning at home, make that 5, and then there's the pressure coming onto that because away from home, it's very, very difficult to win away from home. You've got to get some home results. Now, at the end of the day, you just got to match match it all. Get a little bit better than what Wolves have got, So, and it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult, like, you know. And I have to say, I know you can, look at a few players there and all that. Leicester have got some decent players. You know, they probably should be doing a little bit better. I'm not saying they should survive or whatever. It's difficult coming up in the first season back anyway. It is about survival. But I just think that maybe they could be a few points better off than what they should be. I'm not saying that they'd be like mid-table or whatever, but do you know what I mean? Like in and around, like, I don't know, say like another 5 points. It means then that the likes of Everton, West Ham, and Spurs would be catchable, if you know what I'm saying. Like, listen, Ollie Skip played a lot with my son at the time, like, you know, because he's round this way. Very, very good player for his age, you know, like. But that's what the gap is between, you know, playing as youngsters, playing like top football around here to become a professional footballer. He's just an ordinary player in the Premier League. It's a difficult one, like, you know. But we've got to get on. We can't go to Leicester and think, oh, this is going to be an easy game. You know, we will get found out. So stats and everything like that, you know, they'd be broken. I don't know if you guys are actually thinking that. Have you? Oh, we ain't scored for so long at home or whatever. Until these stats come up and all that, like, it's just about what you do on the day. And I think you took a little bit. I know you lost against Man United, but I think you take a little bit of confidence from that. Like, you know, drum it in that, you know, you done this, you done that for 60 minutes. You was the better team, maybe because Leicester tired, maybe that they've got a little bit better on the bench than us, that changed it a little bit, like, you know. So try and take the positives from that. That's what I would do, and see where it goes. And also, you know, that Arsenal are vulnerable. I know, like, you might think that's silly, 2 defeats at this moment in time, but, you know, if I'm rude, I'm saying, look, if we can get one goal, we can get a goal. Have they got enough to get 2 against us with what, you know? So that first goal is going to be very, very important tomorrow, like, you know, very, very important. If Arsenal score it, I think that it'll be we'll be okay. But if you get it, I think it could be a different story.
If you lot score first, it'll get toxic. I'm telling you now. This is the thing with the whole protest before the game against the board and that, and then, you know, if we don't play well in the game at all and Arsenal are all over us, then I think the mood changes massively in the game, and they start getting on the players' backs. And the thing is, we have, you look at El Canous, you know, I don't know if you've watched much of him. He's been a fantastic player this season. I mean, Matt Hermanson, I think he saved 13 shots against Arsenal at the Emirates last time round.
Yeah, a great game. Yes.
So it's one of them where Leicester we're vulnerable. You know, we are vulnerable. If you said to me confident going into this game, I'd say no. This season, we've made many teams have their most easiest game of the season. Everton, Manchester United, other teams as well, apart from that, you know. But Arsenal have got that quality, haven't they, what can put Leicester to bed quite significantly at times, and it's using that to affect it. But then Leicester have got a sort of, they need a bloody right kick up the arse, these players, because I kind of look at our squad, Lee, and I think, is there enough quality to keep us in the Premier League? Have we got enough to galvanise us? Because the Championship to the Premier League now is a massive gulf. You looked at Burnley, Sheffield United and Luton last season. You know, you look at Ipswich, Southampton and Leicester now, it's like the sides haven't got enough. And I think the Premier League wideness gap is getting even bigger.
Yeah, and the problem is with it is, if you have a look at I don't know, maybe even Leicester, you might be able to agree with this or not, like, but definitely Ipswich and South. You get to the Premier League with a winning mentality to get there, you know, like, and then to get into, then you make 10, 15 signings.
I agree. Nothing to lose, mate.
Because like you have to make that. But of course, then you have to really start again, and you're starting down there. Like, it'd be very interesting if a team was to just go, well, do you know what? And I know it's difficult, but like, this is the team that's got me here. Let's see now if they can kick on. Maybe with just 1 or 2 additions, maybe like three or 4, not 8, 9, 10s. And this is what's happening. Like, it's like, I follow Sheffield United now because Tyrese is playing for them and all that. Like, but if he was to get promoted with Sheffield United, there's no guarantee that he's going to be kept on to go into the Premier League. It'll be all disbanded, and you go to another team and whatever. So I understand that to a certain thing. Like, and of course, when you get that, and it's probably with Ipswich midfield, is Leicester's midfield, is Southampton's midfield the same as it was last season? I bet it ain't. What I mean? It's all different. And then so, like, you haven't got that same sort of mixture. Like, we've all played football, and you're in a dressing room with your mates and you're winning week in, week out.
Yeah.
And then the next season, none of you are there, or one of you might be there, or 2 of you there.
Yeah.
The team spirit ain't the same where you've had that going. So I think it's a very, very difficult thing. And, you only got to look at Luton, look at them great season. But they actually made a lot of changes to their team. Now they've gone back down and they're struggling again because they're not the players that are used to the Championship now. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a difficult. I don't know how the best way to go about it is, because I've never been in there. But Leicester, Ipswich, and Southampton, I bet if you have a look at their teams from last season to this season, very, very much changed, and they still haven't getting the results. So maybe, but if you're a Leicester fan, dare I say it, like if you was to keep the same team that you had last season, you'd be going, we've got no chance now. So I think there's a demand to bring in new players, but I don't know if there's a demand to bring in too many. I don't know. It's an interesting thing, but it is interesting that what you say there is that the 3 teams that are coming up are the 3 teams that are going back down, it seems now, like, so if you'd be really honest about it, you would say that Southampton, Ipswich and Leicester are probably the favourites to go down at the moment, really. I think Wolves are in a little bit of a
keeps them up, in my opinion, on his own.
Yeah, so
he's the man this season for them, Cunha, and without Cunha,
I've got to say that.
He changes their play massively.
So to be honest, as a Leicester fan, take Wolves out of that equation,
Yeah.
Who else would you expect to get above in that? West Ham, Everton, Spurs, Man United, Palace, Brentford, Brighton.
You'd love Spurs to go down, wouldn't you, Lee? You'd have hoped their form would carry on losing and that, And
well, you know what? If they'd lost to Brentford, take that, which is a brilliant win for them. If you took that off, they'd be on 23 points. You would look at it and go, let's do it 6 points. It could happen. You know what I mean? But if I'm a Leicester fan, so I put myself as a Leicester fan now. Can we get Spurs? We're 10 points off of them. They've got to have all their players coming back at some stage. So I'm going to say no. So it's not going to happen. I'm looking at Everton. Everton just seems to be getting better and better.
They've changed the manager at the right
time. And that point, in midweek against Liverpool is a massive point. You know what it's like down there. So
they've got the right manager.
West Ham have got firepower.
Yeah, they've changed the manager as well, aren't they?
So you're really then looking at Wolves, who have got some firepower themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to be very, very difficult for Leicester and Ipswich. I think Southampton, we can all say, are down. But I as a Leicester fan, I don't know who you think. If I was a Leicester fan, the only one I'm thinking that I can realistically catch is Wolves, because the other guys, you've got 10 points.
Yeah,
10 points each, so you've got to go and win 3 games.
The gap's massive.
Yeah, 3 games on the spin.
Yeah, we struggled to even win one. So, we've not won many.
You're asking to get 3 games on the spin, and just looking at your league table, you've won 4 games all season out of 24. So you're asking something which is very, very difficult to do. To even get close to get West Ham, Everton, or Spurs in the mix, it ain't going to happen, unfortunately. So, as I say, I think it's attitude. The battle's on there between Leicester, Ipswich, Wolves. Yeah, that we're one of them. For one of them, you guys will survive. Which one? If I'm a betting man, you'd probably say Wolves, because 2 more points at this moment in time. Points mean prizes, don't they? So
they do. That's what's pivotal. I think we've only kept a clean sheet all season, Lee. So it says a lot how many goals.
Saying that, you beat Arsenal, they lose to Liverpool, and you're in the ascendancy. So that's why it's a massive game for both teams on tomorrow.
That is. Ross said, "Has anyone told you look like footballer Kevin Ellison?"
Yeah, I get that a lot. I don't know if he knows who I am as well. Yeah, we do get that a lot. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Can't say it's carving out the relegation zone, but would love to finish above Man United. Lee, have a word with Arteta. Tell him it's a charity match.
Well, listen,
if you want to donate 3 points to us, Lee, mate, just lay over for us. That you could do that.
Well, if they do that tomorrow, good luck to you, and it will tell you everything that we know. So, but listen, our Arsenal have, we've got to, we're only 7 or 8 or 9 points off of top 4, you know what I mean? So Arsenal's still got a lot of work to do. So, to guarantee that, to keep everybody at the football club very, very happy, owners wise, to get into the top 4. So, listen, we need to win tomorrow to just to see if we can put a bit of pressure on Liverpool, and see what. Listen, if Arsenal win tomorrow and Liverpool don't beat Wolves,
that's a tough game.
Maybe pushing a bit of pressure on them, But what we got to do is win tomorrow. So. No charity, I'm afraid. Sorry, Scott.
That's true. Let's have a look at the last few bits then. Last 5 Premier League head-to-head. 2 wins for Leicester. 3 wins for Arsenal at the KP. Last time round, 1-0.
Yep.
Was it Martinelli that scored, was it?
I think it was. I think Trossard had a very, very good goal. Remember, we should never have been chalked off, you know what I mean, when you see other goals being given.
Danny Warder didn't got that day, no.
Yeah, so it was a difficult game. It weren't an easy game. I think we started off really well, and in the end, we was hanging on a little bit, if I remember rightly, but we got the job done.
Yep.
Pressure. There was pressure. We had to win that game. I remember, used it. Did you have Aston Villa in the cup or something? I said, no, you had. I'm pretty sure you had. Was it Blackburn in the cup a few days later? And we were sort of hoping he was going to rest a few players or something like that.
We lost against Blackburn.
Yeah, and lost against Blackburn. Sorry, but Madison didn't play in that game. He was left out of the Arsenal game, wasn't he? And we was a little bit worried about the game. I remember it, but we just scraped through in the end. So it weren't easy. Starting
11. I mean, you've obviously got injuries. I think you've only got 3 fit forwards going into this one with Havertz out. How does Arsenal line up in this one then? How many changes do you make, and what's like predicted 11? I think he'll go.
Well, I think we're fortunate we got our back 4 will be we've got Ben White coming back. I don't think he's playing this one, but to have him available is a good thing there. So Timber and Miles Lewis-Skelly will be the fullbacks, I would imagine. Saliba and Gabriel, midfield of Partey, Odegaard and Rice. And then up front, this is going to be the problem. There's 2 ways of doing this, I think, really. He could go with Marino up there replacing Havertz. I would say he was a more likely like for like.
Yeah.
Or he goes Trossard down the centre. He's done that before a few times. On the right Wanyeri on the left, Sterling. So I would probably think that he'd go with that.
I think with Leicester, Herman's still playing goal. I think we'll go with a back four. Justin will start. I don't think Justin's been good enough this season. He was on the brink of the England squad twice, and I think the ACL injuries have done him. He's not the player he was. I think we'll go with Fasanakoli. He might bring Vestergaard back in. If Vestergaard's in there, I mean, Arsenal are going to have a bloody field day with pace on that, and then paired the Chuckle brothers bloody playing at the back. We just hope that ain't the case. I think he'll bring Christensen back in. I'd rather see Koulibaly, give him a chance against Arsenal. I think he'd play either side of the right or left back. Samara and Ndidi I'd go with. A strong midfield partnership that worked before. But it's not really worked since Will's obviously been injured. So we've had to put Winks and that in there, or even Oliver Skip. So I'm glad Will's back for this one. El Canoes, Jamie Vardy. Jesus. I think he'll go Decord over Reed. And Jesus God. Buonotti's, see, he's been very good from Brighton, but I just don't think Root fancies him, to be fair. So I think he'll go Jordan Ayew. Obviously, Ayew, I don't know. He's a very good hold-up player. He's not going to be a goal scorer, is he, Lee? Jordan Ayew. He's going to be a man who's his work rate's there, isn't it? He's likes to, you've got Gabriel and Saliba who he can be physical with. So I think that's how we'll go against Arsenal.
I use one of those players, and he's not probably quite good enough for the Premier League, but he's too good for the Championship. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's in that sort of era, like, So
that's most of our players, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't mean to be odd, but listen, still to be a Championship player is still a fantastic thing. But I know what you're saying, like, there is a difference. So, listen, does anybody fear me in that? Individually, no. But as a team, collectively, who knows? You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure Ruben will have you boys up for it tomorrow.
He'll be watching this, Lee, and he'll think I get one over on Lee Judges in Arsenal.
He's got one or two over me before in the past. You know what I mean? So.
Well, if Caleb Okoli can create a Steve Walsh moment from '97, then that big header in front of the cup, and we can get a point on something fantastic. But score prediction. I mean, where do you go with this one?
I think 1-0 to Arsenal. I just think that maybe we'll play a little bit more defensive tomorrow and maybe get something on the counter attack or a set piece. So 1-0, I'm going for.
Can I see Leicester getting anything out of this game? See, I don't like going against my own team, but I just think Arsenal have enough to beat us, to be fair. I'd like to be proven wrong. Some would say it's not a game that we really focus on compared to the other games, what's coming up against Southampton, Ipswich and them types of teams. But it's going to be a real tough ask for Leicester to get anything out of this game, to be fair. I'd like to say a 2-2 draw. Maybe I'll go with Desmond, which I probably will, but Leicester don't really score many, I'm afraid, Lee. So, it's going to be one of them, whether we score at home and we get some. If we don't, then, it's going to be a real long afternoon if Arsenal score very early on. So, Lee, thanks for coming on, mate. Really appreciate your time. I'll let you go. Let everybody know where they can find you, mate, and what you do regarding Arsenal.
Yeah, can catch me on Lee Judges TV or Mark Judges on Twitter and Instagram, and of course you can check out all the AFTV stuff as well, which I will be on tomorrow. So there you go.
Appreciate it, Lee. All the best, mate, for the rest of the season after tomorrow.
Have a good one.
And, don't go and break Leicester's heart, will you?
No, I'll try not to.
Cheers, Lee. That was Lee Judges, great guest. Thanks for Lee for his time. Guys, hit the like button if you enjoyed this stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're new and you haven't subscribed already. Please get down and do so. It'll help me out massively. If you're watching this on playback, let me know your score predictions ahead of this one then. As the Gunners come to the King Power Stadium, can Leicester break Arsenal's heart and shock the Gunners? Let's see what happens. But I'll be there tomorrow. Match day vlog will be out. Really appreciate your time, Peter. Thanks for watching. Take care. Have a great rest of the day, whatever you're up to on this Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody who's celebrating then. And let's see what happens tomorrow against Arsenal. But thanks for watching. Take care. See you soon. Hi all. Thank you for watching The Final Whistle. If you enjoy all our content, please remember to smash a like, share and subscribe to the channel.